So as a fellow member of the 3000 Club, how do you feel about Jeter getting it?
I'm excited for him. Yeah, I thought it was funny on Saturday when he said he was feeling the pressure. I think all of us who are in the club already, we kind of sensed he was feeling the pressure. But to do it like he did it, hitting a home run for his 3,000th hit under that kind of scrutiny in New York, I think tip of the cap, man. I'm so excited for him, and now he can kind of relax and just play the game the way he's always played it. But those last 10 are tough to get, and the way he did it with that kind of style, that kind of professionalism that we've all come to expect with him, I'm thrilled that he made it.
Yeah, George Brett once said that 3,000 was the toughest hit he ever got.
Yeah.
Was that the same for you?
Yeah, it was, but you know what though? In Derek's case, I think it was made easier because the first at bat he got a hit. You know, he was, you kind of pressed because your thinking isn't the same. You know, when you're just going, like when you're building a 29, 98, 99, there's a certain way you do it. You go up to the plate and you try to do things right. But those last 10, you're trying to get hits. People ain't coming to the park to see you hit a line drive to second. You know, they're there to see you get hits. And you start to fresh. You start to get away from doing what you've always done. And Derek said that on Saturday. He said that if Price would have thrown it in the dugout, he would have swung at it. And that's, I think all of us kind of relate to that because that's what you do. When you're trying to get hits, you tend to go outside the box and try to do something different. But getting a hit that first time up, I think, allowed him to relax a little bit. And we saw what happened, 5 for 5 on your 3,000 hit day. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, there's been some talk, a little controversy as to why Jeter didn't come here, and they've been saying it because he was exhausted and tired from the chase.
Yep.
But a lot of people seem to feel he should have made it out here anyway. Do you have any opinion on that?
Well, I totally understand why he wants to take the time out to kind of regroup because it's exhausting trying to get to 3,000 because you're the focus. Regardless of what's going on around you, about your team winning games, you're the focus. And you get tired of answering those questions. You get tired for your teammates to have to answer those questions. And unless you've gone through it, people don't understand just how exhausting that really is. And I can only imagine. I did it in San Diego. He's done it in New York and in the heart of the biggest media market in the country. So I can totally understand why you want to kind of take a step back and kind of regroup here. But I'm one who believes when you're voted in by the fans, that's kind of your responsibility. I think all of us as fans kind of understand what he's gone through and why he wants to take it off, which to me makes it okay. But most of the time when you're voted in, you got to go. I mean, I was voted in '99 in Boston, and I was injured. And I went, and it turned out to be the greatest All-Star game in the history of All-Star games. I'm standing on the mound with Ted Williams as he throws out the first pitch.
How would Dale actually
and I wouldn't have been there if I hadn't decided that I was going to go and honor the people voting me in. So sometimes it works out great.
Yeah, you were at a pretty impressive All-Star game with Ted Williams. Would you say that the best you've ever been?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think that'll ever happen again, that kind of electricity at an All-Star game. And to be right there in the center of it, when Ted Williams wheels his cart and comes to the pitching mound, and to be standing there with Mark McGwire and Cal Ripken and Ken Griffey Jr., and then to be the last guy on the mound with Ted Williams, man, that was something you'll never, ever forget. And but if I hadn't decided that I was going to honor people voting me in, I'd have never got that opportunity. So sometimes things happen for a reason, and in my case that year, it kind of worked out. But again, I kind of understand. I get it. That 3,000 chase can be an exhausting kind of chase with the kind of scrutiny that he's been under. And you do kind of want to just kind of step back and say, hey, I need a break.
Any other players you think are going to end up with 3,000?
Oh, there's going to be a lot of players. A-Rod's, he's going to get there for sure. The question is going to be Ken Pudge or Vizquel because they're one and two on the next list. But there's, Pujols, I think, is going to get there. There's always going to be somebody coming along down the road. We can't see it right now, but somebody who's going to get there. Ichiro, I think, if he can stay healthy, he's going to get there. And so we got 28 members now, and 5 years from now we might have 31, 32. But each time a guy gets there, it's an awesome accomplishment.
So do you think it's easier these days to get 3,000 than
Oh,
it
no.
is for a pitcher to get 300?
That's a good question because I think right now we're in a cycle where the pitchers are dominating. You know, pitchers, no question, are dominating games, and they're the reason why hitting is down right now. We got a lot of guys who are throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. You know, guys like Verlander and Sabathia, you know, guys who can rush the ball up there. So pitching is dominating, where we just got off a cycle where hitting was dominating. Now the pitchers are turning it around, and so to answer your question, I think 3,000 hits might be a little bit easier accomplishment than 300 wins, but
still
in
not
this
easy.
cycle, you don't know. It could turn around and, you know, a guy could rattle off 4 or 5 straight 21 seasons, and the next thing you know, he's in the hunt to get to 300. So, however it goes, it's still cool when somebody, you know, gets to either one of those milestones. So, and us old guys, we always like looking and you know, welcoming those guys who get to either. So.